Mr. President, my name is Ken Matsuda. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We, the affirmative side, strongly support this resolution. Plan: Japanese government shall prohibit worker dispatching from 2013, and publicize that disguised subcontracts are prohibited. There are two advantages, which are the prevention of midway dismissals and the prevention of labor accidents. 81. The prevention of midway dismissals. Present situation. Many dispatch workers are suffering from midway dismissals known as hankengiri. This unfortunate situation results from a triangular relationship which consists of two contracts. One contract is a general labor contract between a dispatch worker and a dispatching agency. The other contract is a worker dispatch contract which concerns the supply of dispatch workers to the client company by the dispatching agency. Under this triangular relationship, a client company can fire a dispatched worker more easily because the relationship between a client company and a dispatched worker is not a labor contract. In fact, based on Minister of Labor, dispatched workers are 25% more likely to be involved in midway dismissal than the other types of irregular workers. Solution: A. Dispatched workers will be rehired as direct employees because client companies will have to fill the job vacancies with direct employees. According to Japan Production Skill Labor Association, JSLA, if worker dispatching is prohibited, 10% of the manufacturing companies will hire them as regular workers, 43% will rehire them as contract workers, and 39% will rehire them as part-timers. B. Triangular relationship will disappear, so companies will not be able to dismiss workers so easily. Significance: this plan will prevent dispatched workers from losing their jobs as well as homes. According to the Minister of Labor, in 2008, 91% of dispatch workers said their lives mainly depend on their own income. So if they suffer from midway dismissals, they will become homeless. According to Eiko Gakuen, who is the head of 労働者供給事業関連労働組合法協議会, quote, dispatch workers who were fired were forced out of the dormitory into homelessness. They lost their jobs and homes at the same time, which has never happened in the past, unquote. However, if the plan is adopted, former dispatch workers will be able to get a better outlook on life. 82. The prevention of labor accidents. Present situations. Many dispatch workers fall victims of labor accidents. According to the Minister of Labor, in 2007, about 5,600 dispatch workers suffered from labor accidents. In particular, 36 dispatch workers were killed. Now, dispatch workers are 60% more likely to be involved in labor accidents than the other types of workers. This unfortunate situation also results from the triangular relationship. The relation between a client company and a dispatch worker is not a labor contract, so a client company has no duty by law to pay money for accidents. As a result, client companies don't try to improve their working environment. Solution: A. As I said in solution of 81, after adopting the plan, dispatch workers will be directly employed by companies. B. The triangular relationship will disappear. As a result, each company will have a duty by law to pay money for unfortunate victims. Therefore, companies will try to create a safer working environment. This will decrease dispatch workers' accidents to the same level as other workers. Significance: it's important to protect dispatch workers from labor accidents because it may force them to lose their jobs. According to the Minister of Labor, those who suffered from labor accidents will take 54 days on average to recover. This length of recovery shows the seriousness of injury. Moreover, client companies will lose workforce for 54 days on average. In order to fill the job vacancies, the dispatching agency will send another dispatched worker to the client company. As a result, even if the dispatched worker recovers, he will lose his job. This is serious. In this way, we must adopt the resolution. Thank you for listening.
that okay, does this advantage refer to present dispatch workers? Working right now?
Working? Yes.
Okay. And you said that dispatch workers are easily laid off. They're easily laid off and dismissed. Is that because the worker dispatching system?
Yes, this triangular relationship, because of triangular relationship.
Okay, so right now, companies are hiring dispatch workers and treat them badly?
Badly.
So,
yes.
Does this motivation or incentive will change after plan?
Yes.
How can you say that?
Because after the plan, client companies will have the financial burden for business.
Could you explain what kind of Sorry. To the advantage too. You say that in the present situation, you said about the responsibility is unclear, right?
Unclear.
Triangular relationship.
No.
Why dispatch workers are easily getting into labor accident in the present situation?
Because the relation between a client company and a dispatch worker is not a labor contract. A client company has no duty by law to pay money for accidents.
So are you going to solve the problem by money?
By what?
By money?
By
Because
money.
there will be like subsidy or payment for company that will be solved.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So your advantage will occur only when dispatch workers will be hired directly. Right?
Directly, yes.
So why direct employment will solve the problem?
You mean employment is direct employment?
Yes.
Because the triangular relationship will disappear.
Will disappear. And how? I mean, there are another like part-time or regular worker. And how can you say that only the clarity of responsibility will really change the whole problem? Whole like labor accident or second dismissal?
Yes.
So why?
Because there will yes, after the plan is adopted, client companies have to pay the money.
Okay,
Money
so
is important.
Your goal of the importance is that for companies, for workers, your goal is to protect workers. Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Haken Roudou. Disadvantage 1. Low social advancement. Presentation. Women and elders are difficult to get employed. However, work dispatching is new way offering workplaces to them. According to Mr. Oyama of Tokyo Capital University in 2001, work dispatching plays a great role in matching workers and companies rapidly accurately by offering opportunity to work which are scarce for women and elders upward. In fact, it is actually functioning in offering jobs. First, for women, according to a website of Fujitsu, for the whole company, about 42% of them are hiring dispatch workers who are child caring, and 17% are hiring part-timers in child caring. Second, for elders, according to the Bureau of Statistics, about 20% of elders over the age of 65 are working now. Therefore, work dispatching system is working on efficient matching of diverse needs of workers and requirements of companies. Process. After plan, women and elders can hardly find new jobs. According to the newspaper in 2007, if work dispatching gets prohibited, companies will fail to offer workers a workplace compared to the dispatching system that matches worker and workplace from many choices. It is certain that dispatch workers will not get employed easily. Significance. During the 10 years until 2002, female dispatch workers had increased more than 3 times. Therefore, the social advancement of women and elders is important. not only for themselves, but also for economic perspective, because according to Yomiuri newspaper in 2008, in order to maintain economic growth rate, it is necessary to enhance labor productivity by promoting the involvement of women and elders. Therefore, to block social advancement of women and elders is wrong as a government policy because they are necessary to Japanese economic perspective. Disadvantage 2. Overseas transfer. Process 1. Action plan. Company will not be able to secure workers flexibly through worker dispatching system, so they will transfer factories overseas in search of lower personnel cost. In fact, IT Management Association on November 2009 stated that, if worker dispatching gets prohibited, securing workers will be more difficult without smooth and flexible matching system. To cope with this situation, it is certain that overseas transfer will progress faster and faster. Actually, many companies had announced that they would transfer overseas. According to Sankei News on September 2009, the survey found that if worker dispatching for manufacturing is prohibited, 10% out of the whole company will transfer factories overseas. By working at large-scale factories that have more than 1,000 workers, 19% are planning to transfer overseas. Therefore, after Japan, 10% of factories will go overseas. Process 2. When a factory transfers overseas, regular workers who work there will also be unemployed. Moreover, small companies such as transportation, parts makers, or retail business that relate to transfer factory will get financially damaged too. Significance. The policy supposed to protect workers will actually get workers into the danger of unemployment, and that harms the company financially. Therefore, since labor system of worker dispatching involves mutual benefit for worker and company, we must cope with the present problem by improving the present situation. So, we should not adopt this plan. Thank you.
My name is Soka. First, about your disadvantage 1. Why can't women work as part-timers, contracted workers, and so on? Why can't Why can't a woman work as part-timers or contract workers or so on? So on. Like part-timers, contract workers, or regular workers? Or why can't the woman work as those working styles?
It means why women and elders choose working dispatching.
Do they have to be worker dispatch workers, or can they be part-timers? Can they?
Can they? It means
can't the women with children work as part-timers?
Children, part-timers.
Sorry, I'll go to the next question. Here, and you said that 42% of workers are women. I think you said so. Did you?
42%
of dispatch workers are women. Did you say so?
42% of company are hiring dispatch workers who are in child caring. 42% of.
Can you tell me the source of that?
Source of that? Website of HEnDA.
stuff website.
Stuff.
And disadvantage two. Are you saying that companies will transfer overseas because the cost is cheaper?
Workers choose to lower personnel costs,
so they're cheaper, right? The foreign workers are cheaper.
And also dispatch workers are flexible, so actually but it will be gone
So aren't the foreign workers even cheaper and more flexible than the dispatch workers?
Pardon, sorry.
Can't the foreign work can't no it's not can't. Aren't the foreign workers more flexible and more cheaper than the dispatched workers?
Actually 10% of the whole companies are announced that. So it.
Sorry, we'll go back to your disadvantage number one. Why, if companies hire women, why will the productivity of companies increase?
Company productivity.
Didn't you say so? You said that the productivity will increase and the economy will.
Economic growth rate.
Yeah. So why does it have to be women?
Women.
Is there any?
Because now Japanese labor population is dropping down. Dropping down due to low birth rate. It is a good way to make use of those working women in Earth is for Japanese economy.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Hiroki Mizumoto. I'll start the talk. Please look at 81. They say that workers will be protected at the plant, but 1. There is no proof why problem will be solved. They need to prove that the incentive companies will change to protect the workers. 2. Unless the incentive companies will not change, part-timers will be treated as the same way as dispatch workers, even if worker dispatching is prohibited. The problem will be not solved. According to Professor Otake of Soka University stated in 2006, quote, when companies try to cut personnel costs, unemployed people will increase because companies restrain adapting workers. Moreover, companies can increase part-timers. Thus, the labor environment of part-timers will decline instead of dispatching workers, unquote. Therefore, workers will remain to be treated, workers' problem will not be solved. Next, please look at 82. This is that labor accident is a problem.
But, 1. There is no problem in the present. Dispatching company and client company are trying to cooperate to prevent labor accidents. According to Mr. Kimura from the Domestic Industry Labor Force Research Center, stated in 2007, quote, according to a survey done by the Japan Industrial Safety and Health Association, Safety and Health Act is done in the same way as workers in the client companies. The patrol of the workplace is often done by both client companies and dispatch company, unquote. 2. Moreover, without the prohibition of whole worker dispatching law, we should take responsibility to client company. And government will revise the worker dispatching law so that client companies will also take the responsibility. According to the website of Human Resource Development Organization in Tokushima, government will revise the worker dispatching law and make both the dispatching company and the client company take responsibility. We are not saying that it will be solved because the law will be revised. What we want to claim is that there is no need to prohibit all worker dispatching, even if there are other solvency. And next year, problem will be solved, but please refer to attack in 81. Dismissing and labor accident is caused by not being triangular relationship, but companies' incentive that fulfill first priority. Without the incentive, other employment style worker will suffer. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now have three questions. Affirmative side, please, for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Eiko Gakuen. Did you say that part-time will increase?
Yes.
Okay, so current dispatching workers will be re-employed as part-timers after the ban, right?
Some worker will hire.
Okay, so they will be hired as part-timers. Okay, thank you. And next they said, no, you said that you use like website of human resource, but Tokushima, what? Can you repeat the source again?
Okay, this is the website of Human Resource Development Organization in Tokushima.
In Tokushima?
能力開発機構徳島センター。
Tokushima Center. Oh, what's that?
The Human Resource Development Organization.
What does it do? Is that institute or something, or is that
Maybe institution.
You don't know.
Yes.
Okay. You don't know.
Yes.
Okay. And and you said that even now, client companies take responsibility, right?
Yes.
So what do you mean by responsibility?
Responsibility. I mean, our responsibility is to prevent.
No, I'm asking that how do client companies take responsibility?
Client companies, for example, we said the patrol of the workplace is done.
Patrol? No. I mean, when the labor accident is happened, how do the client company take responsibility?
Okay, client company. We didn't say in that.
Client company don't take responsibility, right?
Client company.
Okay, thank you.
Briefing time is ended. We will now give the floor to Anna for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Eishimajima. I would like to show 3 points. First point concerning disadvantage 1 is part-timers. Now women can choose how long they work and when they work, but because when they are part-time workers realize the flexibility for women, and so this point is okay. And according to JSLA, Japan Production Skilled Labor Association, 39% companies said they will be rehired dispatch workers as part-time workers. So they are retirement place. So that is okay. And second point is about a matching system. According to 雇用のあり方に関する研究会2009, dispatch agency is similar to employment agency concerning matching system. So employment agency can realize the same matching system of dispatch agencies, and matching system. So so workers can get jobs easily and companies can seek workers easily. And so matching system, so concerning matching systems, there's no problem. And third point about the requirement. Now, despite client companies' payment of 60.3% of client companies' payment is taken by dispatch agencies, and after the motion is adapted, client companies can use this 16.3% freely, and so their financial burdens will decrease. And therefore, as we show in the tax speech, the flexibility of searching jobs is okay, and financial burdens will decrease. So client companies' burdens will in total decrease, and they will be rehired a lot of workers. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. We're going to now talk first for the negative side for 2 minutes. Chairperson, my name is Soka. I'd like to ask you some questions. First of all, in your first fact, you said that women are able to choose how long they want to work with part-time.
Yes.
Did you prove that it's more better than dispatch worker?
Oh, I can't. Yes, part-time workers realize the flexibility, which is something workers can choose.
But worker dispatching is also flexible.
Yes,
so
but
did you prove that
I can't prove dispatch workers is better than other part-time workers, but I can prove part-time workers is better than dispatch workers. So maybe they're same conditions.
What is the 39%?
39% is that after the motion is adapted, according to the data of JSLA in 2009, 39% of companies says they will.
Okay, but does this actually mean that women and elders will be hired as part-timers after plan?
Yes. I show the
Yes?
I show the requirement play. I show there will be a requirement.
About women and elders specifically, right?
Yes. Sorry. It is not say only for only for women, but.
What did you say? Next question. What did you say about the matching agency?
According to
Can you briefly explain?
Yes, employment agency can match job seekers and companies. So there's no difference between dispatch agencies and employment agencies concerning matching.
Are those agencies able to employ women and others?
Thank you.
Here. For certain standards, women now have a privilege now to your policy presentation in the first 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Akihiro Nakamura. First, they said that we didn't show that the situation will change, and also we didn't show the incentive of client companies not to cut workers easily. But there's between client companies and workers, in present situation there is no contract, and after the plan there will be labor contract, and it is hard to cancel this labor contract. So companies cannot cut workers easily. And next, they said part-timers situation is also bad, but they didn't show how part-timers is bad. And we showed that by being direct employees, without triangular relation, they cannot be fired easily. So part-timers is much better than dispatched workers. And next, they said now client companies take responsibility for the labor accidents, but they use something not reliable source like Tokushima Center, and they don't know what it is, so that's unreliable. Moreover, in the cross-examination, they admitted that client company don't take responsibility for the labor accidents, and we show that. After the plan is adopted, client companies have to take responsibility by paying money for the victims. This is enough incentive for the companies to protect workers. And also about the present situation about labor accidents, they said the present situation is not bad, but what they're saying is sources are not reliable, and we use the data that dispatched workers are more likely to suffer from labor accidents. So the points are remained. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving now to negative defense for 2 minutes. Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Soka, and I would like to begin now. First of all, in their first attack, they used the evidence that 39% will be retired as part-timers. However, this evidence does not prove that women and others can get hired as part-timers. And as we proved in our present situation, 42% of women in childcare are dispatch workers, and 17% of them are part-timers. And this means that for women and others who wants to work whenever and however long they want, worker dispatching system is better than part-time. And worker dispatching system is pushing out the advancement of those people. So it is very important. And in their second attack, they said that there are other companies that will offer people jobs. However, even though the scale, in the present situation, there is the chance to be employed through worker dispatching. So that is to say, it is already solved in the present situation, even without those companies. So, and they did not prove that through those companies, all of the workers they did not prove whether all of the workers can be hired, can get another job through those agencies. So they have no proof, and so our point stands. And please to get this up, and our disadvantage too. We clearly stated that 10% out of the whole companies will transfer overseas, and this will bring great damage because if even one company transfer overseas, since there are many small factories related to it, it will bring big damage to companies financially and get workers into danger of unemployment. So disadvantage will occur. And moreover, since there are even regular workers working in factories in addition to dispatch workers, this overseas transfer will not only be a damage to dispatch workers but also regular workers. So it is very serious. Thank you. We're now for 2 weeks before time.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Walter Naritani. We, the affirmative, so strongly support the plan to prohibit worker dispatching. Now, please extend their 2 points, which are the prevention of midway dismissals and the prevention of labor accidents. They try to attack us by saying that we have no proof or the companies won't protect the workers, but the contract will be directly connected to the workers and the companies, so the companies won't be able to cut the workers easily, and that will make midway dismissals decrease. And for our second point, they said that some patrol is being done even now, but as our third speaker said, their evidence was unreliable, and moreover, after adopting the plan, there will be duty to compensate for the companies, so the companies will try to make a safer environment. So both our points stand. On the other hand, we have shown you how the disadvantages are weak. The negative argued about 2 points, mainly about women and elderly people losing jobs and companies transferring overseas. For the first point, we pointed out that the elderly people and women can also become other types of working styles. So it doesn't have to be worker dispatching. And there is no problem for elderly people and women. And for the second point, we pointed out that the margins now paid to the dispatch agency will come back, so the company's financial burden will decrease. So there will be no reason for the companies to move abroad. And as a result, the unemployment will not increase. Finally, let me compare the values. They are saying that some elderly people and women will suffer. And about companies moving abroad, as we have shown, there will be no reason for the companies to move abroad. And what we are saying is that we can prevent many workers being dismissed suddenly and prevent workers getting severe injuries. This means that we can save workers getting homeless and being killed. It is obvious that our advantage is more important than their disadvantage. And for all these reasons, we think that it is clear that we should prohibit worker dispatching. Thank you for listening.
Moving down to the final speech of this round, the negative family speech for 2 minutes. Judges and audience, my name is Kanagawa. Okay, the key to understand what will actually happen after flying is that think about the company's intention and consciousness for workers, which decides the word of the plan. Okay, the affirmative side stated that dismissal will be solved simply because worker dispatching will be gone. However, as you have pointed out, it will end up changing the target of severe treatment to other alternative workers because, as we have stated in this point too, since companies will lose flexible global force of the plan, they will transfer overseas in search of lower personnel costs and can easily sacrifice and ignore the domestic effects such as massive unemployment and damage of small companies. As we have pointed out, 10% of companies answered to going overseas in response to the prohibition of worker dispatching. This point was its stance. And this fact clearly shows that companies take first priority for the profits, not protecting workers. So please make sure that there is no difference before and after the plan as for their stance. So what will actually happen after the plan is that massive unemployment, as we have said in this disadvantage too. By comparison, by looking at their importance is to protect workers, but it will just cause massive unemployment, so we are superior. And lastly, we have one more burning issue. Right now, there are the benefits for women and elderly and companies as well, which can be obtained only by worker dispatching system, because as we have said, there are a difference between 42% and 70%. That means they are choosing to work as dispatch workers. On the other hand, the labor accident is something that is have another solution, not have to be entire prohibition of worker dispatching system. So this is the best way to decrease labor accident and remain the merit of worker dispatching, which is only unique to this structure at the same time. So we must adopt the plan. And lastly, so there our advanced species are. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, let me announce the result very quickly. It was a close debate, and I really need hours to talk about it, but our final round starts. So let me quickly say the decision first, and moving 2, 3 minutes. Okay, right. First, about advantage midterm triangle. I mean, this is talking about midterm dismissal problem, and affirmative also talk about labor accident. And negative side talked about, the first disadvantage is about elderly and female workers will not have a chance to re-employ. And there will be overseas transfer, that's why there will be lots of unemployment. Okay. And there's split decision, largely because it's difficult to say interpret some difficult term like what is taking responsibility and which worker are you talking about, regular worker, contract worker, and a part-time worker. Some are really developed quite well, others are not. And so that separates the decision of the judges. Secondly, about labor accident. Also, again, the solution and attack was not strong enough, but still, it's hard to interpret whether the working condition will be a lot better after this proposal, and compensation will be paid, or company will be careful so that worker will not be. Company will not cause many accidents, people will not suffer. There's some vague factors, so that left some of the interpretation up to judges. Okay, and about disadvantage. First disadvantage, negative side specifically talk about elderly workers. And I think affirmative side responded to this argument by kind of general attack. And so we have to evaluate whether the response to the affirmative or the argument was specific to elderly workers and female workers. And finally, about disadvantage overseas transfer. The last speaker responded to the argument by saying that by reducing the cost, the company will have no incentive to build an overseas factory. Overall, there was 4 judges out of 5 voted for negative side.